Okay, so let me show you something about the margins. This might help you understand what the margin is entirely. So first of all, we go to trade setting. This is OMG. I'm trading OMG on one shot. That's the reason I'm trading OMG on one shot is because of the behavior of the coin. Sometimes it will just spike to 17 and just fall back to 14, thereby trapping you at a high point. So I don't want it to buy for me after every trade. So after every trade, I will come and set up a new trade by myself, making the decisions based on the behavior and the pattern of the coin. All right, so we'll go to trade settings. Click on trade settings. Here you can see my first buying amount is 15 USDT. It means that anytime I'm buying, it's going to be in multiples of 15 USDT. So then my margin call limit is 8 times. Let me just change this to 4 times for the benefit of this tutorial. 4 times. All right, so there we have it. So if we go to the margin configuration, you can see 0.5 my first call to 0.8 my second call. What does this mean? This means that if it drops by 0.5%, if the current cost of the coin drops by 0.5%, it's going to buy me 10 times. What is 10 times? 10 times 15, which is my buying amount. So it means it's going to buy me $150 at this point. So now let's go back and see what 0.5 is. We'll scroll down and you see call margin trigger price is 14.3. That is where my 0.5 is. So what if I want to buy something? I want to buy maybe at 14.1 or 14.2. What do? I just go ahead and set the margins accordingly. Now what I do is this. I go to trade settings, margin configuration, and increase it. You see the 0.5, one is higher than 0.5, but in this case let me use 3. So that my first call is 3. So confirm, save. Then we go back. Can you see it's now 13.8, which is way above below 14.2 that we wanted to do. I'm talking about the call margin trigger price. It is now 13.8. So this is the point, the first point that it is going to buy for me. So you can always check the value of your first margin drop, of your next margin drop. If you look up, no call has been made yet. The number of call margins is still 0. So what do we do now? We'll still go back to the trade settings. Let me just demonstrate it for you, since we are looking for 14.2 thereabouts. So it's 13.9, means 3 is too much. So let's do maybe 1.5. 1.5, we confirm and save. Can you see it? 14.2. So it means that if it drops by 1.5%, it is going to buy for me. So that 1.5% drop is 14.2. Current price is currently 14.4. Okay, so how do you do if you want to just make a trade within a specific region and you want to divide the calls? Okay, by this I mean for OMG, we know that the lowest point for OMG right now at this point, talking about the support level and the former resistance level, is 13.9. So if OMG drops below 13.9, we know that, okay, yes, it is taking another, it wants to go back to the former, that's the previous support, maybe at 13.4 or 13. I can't really say now because I've not checked the charts, but at this point now, the safest point to trade OMG is between 13.9 and 14.5. So if you're looking at it, 13.9 and 14.5, it means there is a particular margin drop, a particular percentage. So what do we do now? So here is what I do. I go to trade settings, check all the margins. If I'm looking at 13.9 and 14.5 or 14.4 thereabout, so we just use our first margin to do the full calculation how many percent is it going to use before it takes me down to 13.9? That's my lowest point, or even 13.8. So let's use 4% and see. We are not leaving it at 4%. We just want to calculate the percentage. You save it. Can you see 13.8? It's at 4% here, but let's still use 14.9, just like I said. 13.9, sorry. So we do that. Let's do it at 3.5, there, about 3.5. It doesn't have to be fully accurate. The numbers doesn't have to be accurate. So just once you get the region, it's okay. 13.8 is actually also okay, but I just feel like let's try 13.9. If you notice, my margin call limit has changed to 8 again. That's because I didn't save it at that point, but so let's leave it at 8. It doesn't really matter. So saved. So we have 13.9 as our call margin trigger price at 3.5. For it to get to 13.9, it's going to use 3.5 margin. It's going to fall by 3.5 margin drop. Okay, so now how do we, there is no guarantee that it's going to fall all the way down. Now, so we want to make profit as well. It might just start pumping from now to 14.7 or to 15. That's what we are hoping for in this particular coin. So what do? I just go to the trade settings now, with the knowledge that 3.5 is the call, is the main call. Okay, 3.5 will take it down to 13.9, but I don't want to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change my margin call limit back to 4. For now, I just need 4 calls. I'm going to divide this 3.5 in 4 places. Now, my first one, I can use 0.5, buy me 10 times. That is 10 times 15. 10 times 15 is 150. So it's going to buy me $150 worth of the coin at this point. So the next call, I can make the next call 0.5 as well. That at 0.5, or let me make it 1 this time around. Let me make it 1. So if it drops by 1%, buy me 40. What is 40? 40 times 15. That's what it is. So you do the calculation. I think that should be 600. So it means I've bought a total of 750. But let me change this to 20. So it buys me 2 times what it bought the previous time. So 20 will be 300. Okay. So what drop do I want again? If it drops by another 1%, buy me another 20. That's 300 again. 300, 600, then 750. So I spent $750 already in this margin. It hasn't bought it physically. Okay, then the last one, I can leave it at 1 as well. So if you calculate everything, that is 3.5. So my 4 margins is actually 3.5. I say buy me 40 at the last stage. If it ever drops to this last stage, there's a possibility it doesn't drop all this way before it peaks and goes. But if it eventually drops here, there is no problem. I have the money to buy it. Now, don't forget, anything you have in this multiple buying ratio part, that's the 40, 20, 20, 10 that we can see here. It should not be the whole amount that you have to trade. It should only be a percentage of the amount. Normally, people will use about 20% of their full capital to make up this buy-in, just in case there is a dip. Remember, I said there's a possibility it still drops to the former levels as well. So let me save this first. So there we have it. So our first call is going to buy for me when it gets to 14.349. You know, that's where it's going to buy me my first call, then second call, and third call, so on and so forth. All right, so let's go back to the trade settings just one more time. Now I want to do 8 calls. Now what is that 8 call for? That's for emergency, in case anything happens. So remember, we have used 3.5 or for our first to 4th call. Then the 5th call, what if it drops below that 13.9? That is is most likely not to happen, but anything can happen in the crypto space. Once you have done a calculation for a coin that has been on this particular spot for quite a while, it's likely to either pump from there or drop to the previous level. Anything can happen in the crypto market. So as in the case of this coin, we are going to say if it further drops by 2%. Now this is where you just use your own discretion. If you want to go calculate, you can go calculate the same way we calculated this 3.5. You just take a longer period. Maybe you're looking at 12. Let me take it back first. So if we're looking at 12, if it's going to drop by to 12, which is very, very unlikely, but nothing is impossible in the crypto market. Let's even say 11, drops all the way to 11. Let's check the percentage. Let me just do that for us. My first margin, let me take it to 8 and see where 8 will be. Okay, 8 is still 13.28%. So let's change it to 16%. 16% is 12.1. So it means it has to drop 16% before it gets to 12.1. So if the next drop level, the next two support levels is at 12.1, you know that you have to go all the way to 16%. So what do? You calculate 16% in your margins, the percentage margin. So here we are changing this back to 0.5. Remember, we have used 3.5 from the first to the fourth call already. So let's use 4.5 here. So if we use 4.5 here, that is a total of 8. So it means we have used 8%, and we have 8% left to share within the last 3 margins. So how do we share that 8%? We can give this one a 2% drop, give this one a 4% drop, then give this one a 2% drop, then put your remaining money within this space. But it's always good for you to have enough time to calculate. Once it buys this 5th call, you can now go ahead and start calculating what you have left for your 6th call to your 8th call. Now the beautiful part about this, there are 2 ways to use the 5th margin. The first way is to use it on the sub-bin mode. Let me save this first. You use it on sub-bin mode, real-time settlement. What does this do? It takes everything. It takes all the trades between the 5th call and the 8th call. It takes them as individual trades, meaning that, okay, let me just put values here. Say 40, 50. Buy me 50, buy me 50. I'm not really calculating. You calculate it according to the money that you have, but I'm just using this for example. Okay, so if it buys you at 4.5, if it buys you 50 coins, let's just do a quick calculation. 50 times buys you 50 coins times 15, that's $750. So if it buys you $750 at 4.5, it means that trade is a trade on its own. So if you set it up here, this distributed and take profit allocation, your 5th one, you are looking for 1.3% on the 5th trade. Same thing with the 6th one, 7th one, and 8th positions. Remember that we have different positions here from the 5th to the 8th. So remember, this one is now, we're saying if it rises by 1.3%, just sell. If the 6th call rises by 1.3%, also sell for me. So you are going to be making profits on this 5th mode to the 8th mode till it rises and hits this your previous calls. That's the 1st to the 4th call, and gives you profit on those ones. So that's one way to look at it. The second way to look at it is to categorize everything together on whole warehouse mode instead of using sub-bin mode. If you do whole warehouse mode, it means that it's going to calculate the general average, so it will wait for it to recover and go above your regular take profits ratio. All right, a little bit tired right now, and I have to go prepare for prepare for the day. I believe that this actually helps you, and it will help you in setting your margin. So what's important in setting your margin? So the first thing you have to consider in setting your margin is the coin you have to trade, the coin you are trading. We want to trade a good coin, a coin that can go up, a coin that can come down. So you check your coin. And for people that are not professionals in the house, all you need to do is you can go on your Binance, search for the coin, and see the way it has been going. If you are using your mobile phone on Binance Lite, you can see the record of the coin in the last 1 hour. You can see the record of the coin in the last 1 week, and the record in the last 24 hours. That's 1 hour, 24 hours, and 1 week. So what do? You take that lowest point, and use it to calculate the distance between your average price and that lowest point. So that will give you a certain percentage. How do you calculate this? You go calculate it by going to your margins, your first call to your first call. You set it on your first call. That you set a high number on your first call. Then go back to your home page. You'll be able to see the first call margin trigger price. So if it corresponds with what you calculated as your lowest entry point, you know that is the figure that you are going to use to measure your first to your fourth call. In this our own case now, the distance between our average price and our lowest possible points is 3.5. So it's being 3.5, we divided it within the first 4 calls. So we put 0.5 in the first call, put 1% in the second call, the third call, and the fourth call, making it 3.5 in total. So that is okay for you to trade. But if you want to go further, you can decide to use more than that. Use 8 calls. I like to use the sub-B mode. That's why I'm using more than 4 calls. So if it happens to go lower than expected and lower than we actually predicted, we should have enough money to buy the dip. So what do? You still go ahead and calculate the second lowest possible drop that is likely to happen and divide it within your last 4 calls. But as a beginner, I encourage you to just do your very first to fourth call. Then later on, if you get caught in the dip, you can bring out some money and go ahead and buy that particular dip. Remember, I always say something: when you want to trade on Royal Q, do not use all your capital immediately. Divide your capital into 3 or 4 places depending on how much you're using. If you're using like 5,000, you can even divide that into 5 places and use only one fraction to trade. Now if you're using low capital, ensure you focus on one coin. If you're focusing on too many coins, it can confuse you. So basically, this is the result, the trade result for the past few days of running this strategy. Don't forget, do not trade like a gambler. Always trade like an experienced trader. You don't need much experience to use Royal Q. All you just need to do is follow these steps and you will almost never be caught in the dip. So as you can see, a total of $4,421 made over a period of 2 months trading with Royal Q. That's about 2.5 million naira. If I can do it, you can do it. People in my team are also making a whole lot trading Royal Q. So you're welcome to join our team anytime. Just click the link to contact me on WhatsApp. You can see you can make $90 a day, $59, $102, depending on the state of the market. Once you have a good trainer, you are going to certainly make it in Royal Q trading. So don't forget to like this video, subscribe, share with your friends. If you want, later on I will do some more videos of how I run my Royal Q trades. So thank you very much. Remember, this is not financial advice. This is just for entertainment and information purposes only, born out of my own personal research. Please go ahead and do your own personal research, and I believe that with that, everything is going to work out perfectly well. So thank you for watching one more time. See you in the next video.